Ayan shifted his Tesla into park and sat for a moment, watching the sun dip behind the pine trees lining Sycamore Lane. The car's silent hum faded into a low, contented silence, broken only by the faint chirp of crickets. His new home, sleek, solar-powered, nestled at the edge of a wooded cul-de-sac, was everything he'd dreamed of. Modern, efficient, peaceful, too peaceful. That peace cracked like glass the moment the clipboard tapped his window. "This isn't a dealership," the woman said sharply, her lips thin and pinched. "We don't allow vehicle advertisements on driveways." Ayan turned, confused. "Excuse me?" She gestured at the clean white Tesla with its small, tasteful Model S, badge on the back. "We've had issues with flashy displays. You're drawing the wrong kind of attention to Sycamore Lane," he blinked. "It's just a car." "I'm Karen Holt," she said, lifting the clipboard. "President of the Sycamore HOA. This isn't the kind of neighborhood for Silicon Valley toys." Ayan smiled, trying not to laugh. "It's electric." "Exactly." She scribbled something on her form. "HOA citation for non-conforming driveway aesthetics, page 4, section C, no futuristic design obstructions." Ayan stepped out of the car. "Are you serious?" Her eyes narrowed like he'd just insulted her personally. "I take this community's balance very seriously. Everyone here cooperates or leaves." That night, Ayan sat on his porch, watching the stars flicker through gaps in the trees. He'd heard rumors of tyrannical HOAs. He just hadn't expected to meet one so soon, wearing pearls and walking a Pomeranian named Muffin like a badge of honor. The next morning, things escalated. A sticky, neon orange note was plastered on his windshield. "Second violation. Visual disruption. Remove vehicle or face fines?" He shook his head and peeled it off. A few neighbors waved sheepishly as he backed out of the driveway, their smiles apologetic. Scared. He could feel it already, the fear of rocking the boat. But Ayan wasn't. Built to bow, especially not to someone trying to fine him for driving clean energy. That afternoon, after work, he returned to find something far worse than a ticket. His Tesla wouldn't charge. He checked the port. Then he smelled it. Sweet. Artificial. Sugar. Not just poured in. Packed. He froze, blood going cold. Someone had sabotaged his car. He reviewed his doorbell cam footage. Grainy night vision, the timestamp just after midnight, a shadow moving low and slow across his front yard, ducking behind his recycling bin. Then, there it was, a figure crouching next to his car. No face, but the height, the frame, and that damn poodle dancing next to her, Muffin. Ayan stared at the screen. Karen, the HOA president, had vandalized his car. But why? Just because it was electric? Because it was new? Or because it didn't match her suburban 1992 aesthetic of white fences and beige Buicks? He called the police. They arrived, took a report, but there wasn't enough to press charges. No clear face, no direct evidence, just suspicion. Karen smiled from her porch the next morning like nothing had happened. Ayan, however, had a plan. And it began with installing 4 new high-definition cameras, each with night vision, motion tracking, and a live uplink. Because if Karen wanted a war over a Tesla, she was about to get one, and the whole internet would be watching. The new cameras were up before nightfall, each mounted like silent sentinels on Ayan's roof corners. Their matte black shells were barely noticeable, unless you were looking for them. Karen, as expected, was. She paused on her morning power walk. Sunglasses, perched atop her sculpted blonde bob. She squinted up at the lens like it had personally insulted her. Then she whipped out her phone. Within hours, Ayan received an email titled, HOA Emergency Notice, Surveillance Violations. He laughed out loud. The message claimed, unauthorized. Security installations were creating a hostile environment for residents, especially those with children and pets. Attached was a blurry photo of one of his cameras and a formal warning: cease and remove, or face a $750 fine. He forwarded it to his lawyer. That night, Karen stood across the street with a small group of residents. Her arms waved dramatically as she pointed toward Ayan's house like she was describing a crime scene. He didn't need audio to guess her script. Spy cameras, Silicon Valley outsider, HOA rules, safety for our kids. But it wasn't working like before. A few neighbors nodded, but others looked unconvinced. One man even walked across the street later and said, "I saw the footage. That was definitely her, man." Ayan smiled. "Thanks. She's got a problem with my car. That's all this is." The next morning, things went quiet. Too quiet, until the envelope appeared. Folded and taped to his front door was a new notice, thicker than the last. A formal HOA summons to attend an emergency compliance hearing. 3 days from now. Mandatory attendance. The accusation? Unauthorized technological presence and behavioral disruption, inconsistent with HOA culture. Whatever that meant. Ayan circled the date and started preparing. He brought a folder. Inside, printouts of his property line deed, the HOA's own bylaws, with the sections Karen kept misquoting highlighted in yellow, a copy of the police report about the vandalism. Screen captures of the nighttime footage, Muffin clearly visible, next to the car. The board meeting was held in the neighborhood clubhouse, a tan stucco building that smelled like dusty lemon wipes and entitlement. Folding chairs lined up like a courtroom. Karen stood at the front, arms crossed like a judge, the clipboard now upgraded to a binder thick enough to kill a rat. "Mr. Ayan, please take a seat," she said, voice clipped. "He did," Karen began. "This board has been made aware of disruptive and unneighborly conduct by the resident at Lot 47. Multiple complaints have surfaced regarding aggressive surveillance, non-compliant vehicle presence, and unauthorized property upgrades." A murmur passed through the room. Someone coughed. A toddler cried in the back. Ayan raised his hand. "Am I allowed to speak?" Karen ignored him. "Due to the dangerous precedent being set, the HOA is voting to propose a ban on non-compliant vehicles, defined here as excessively modern, non-traditional, or electric-powered automobiles that disrupt visual harmony." Now, the room stirred louder. A few people audibly gasped. "You're banning electric cars?" a man in the back said. "Seriously?" Karen flushed. "They're dangerous, silent. They sneak up. I have reports of children nearly being hit." "Do you have police reports?" Ayan asked. "Or just hearsay?" Karen's jaw locked. "I have a police report," he continued, holding up the folder. "Filed against someone who sabotaged my charging port with sugar. Guess who was on the footage?" He turned, revealing the printout with Muffin. The dog's rhinestone collar glinted in the flash. Half the room leaned forward. Karen's face paled. "I'm just trying to live here," Ayan said evenly. "But if anyone thinks I'll be run out because my car doesn't vroom loud enough, think again." A pause. Then a voice in the crowd. "He's right," another. "This is going too far." Karen's eyes darted across the room. Her control, slipping. Fast, she slammed her binder shut. "This isn't over." Ayan just smiled. He hadn't brought the Tesla tonight, but tomorrow it was rolling itself into the spotlight. At 6:45 a.m., Ayan stood in his robe, coffee steaming in one hand, eyes locked on the Tesla's app. It blinked. Obstacle detected. Driveway blocked. Again. He stepped outside. 2 garbage bins, neatly arranged, stood shoulder to shoulder, at the edge of his driveway like sentries. On top sat a single pink note. Temporary safety measure approved by HOA. No overnight vehicle departures without pedestrian flag coordination. He laughed under his breath. Flag coordination? Karen watched from across the street, hidden behind her lace curtain like a hawk in pearls. Muffin sat perched on the windowsill, Eyes narrowed. Ayan didn't move the bins. Instead, he tapped a command on his phone. The Tesla's lights blinked twice. Then, slowly and deliberately, it reversed, nudging one bin until it tipped over with a soft, plastic clatter. The second one spun like a top before settling against the curb. Karen stormed outside, her phone already recording. "You are damaging HOA property!" she shrieked. "They're my bins," Ayan replied, sipping his coffee. "Not when they obstruct public right-of-way," he raised an eyebrow. "So they're public? Meaning you put them there?" Her mouth snapped shut. That night, a new document slid under his door. A folded revision of the HOA's property map, complete with stamped approval from the architectural committee, whatever that was. The updated map showed a dotted red line slicing through his driveway, reassigning a 2-foot-wide strip as shared access. He scanned it, stunned. According to this, Karen's lot had been granted easement rights over the edge of his property, rights he'd never seen mentioned in the original purchase contract. The implication was clear. If the map stood, she could legally stand or park right at the center of his driveway. He didn't sleep that night. He pored over documents, logged into the county recorder's office, pulled parcel numbers, and filed a public records request. The next morning, a different surprise awaited him. 2 orange cones flanked the edge of his drive, and beyond them, Karen's SUV backed up almost into his mailbox, idling. She was sitting in it, waiting, watching. He stepped outside and waved. The SUV didn't move. Ayan walked up to the front window. Karen lowered it 2 inches. "You're trespassing," he said calmly. She smiled. "Shared access, approved map, Section 12, Addendum D." "You forged that." "Prove it," she said sweetly. "Until then, consider this a neighborhood safety measure." Then she revved the engine and reversed 6 inches, just enough to block his car in. Ayan retreated, heart pounding. He opened the Tesla app again, but didn't summon it. Not yet. Instead, he made another call to the county assessor's office. By noon, he had confirmation. The revised map? Fake. The stamp? Pulled from a clip art site. No such addendum had ever been filed with the city. Karen had crossed the line, literally. So Ayan did what any good neighbor would do. He printed a giant 3A4 banner and hung it across his garage door. HOA attempted property theft, now under county review. Cameras are rolling. Within 24 hours, the video went viral. Karen's SUV caught blocking the Tesla. Her fake map dissected by internet sleuths. The sugar in the charger footage replayed on TikTok with dramatic violin music. Muffin became a meme. And best of all, a prominent real estate lawyer offered pro bono assistance. "Let's make this official," he messaged. "No one rewrites landlines without consequences." That night, as the sun set over Sycamore Lane, Ayan stood on his porch and watched Karen yank down her Halloween decorations in a fury. This wasn't just petty now. It was about who actually owned the road, and who thought they owned everyone on it, and Ayan wasn't backing down. 3 days after the driveway standoff, Ayan launched the Karen Cam, a 24/7 live stream edited with timestamps, music overlays, and a muffin-shaped watermark, broadcasted straight from his upgraded rooftop system. By noon, he had 5,000 viewers. By evening, 42,000 comments exploded. "She's patrolling again." Someone. "Count how many times she fake coughs near his property." "Muffin has more screen time than HBO." Karen, of course, noticed. At exactly 10:03 a.m., she marched across the street, HOA polo starched and clipboard tucked under one arm, barking up at the cameras. Ayan stood on his porch, sipping matcha. "You're violating privacy codes," she snapped. "You're standing on public property," he replied. "Also, I've blurred all faces, except Muffin's." Her nostrils flared. "You'll regret this," she hissed. "We're escalating." He waved cheerfully. "Good. So am I." That night, someone egged Ayan's mailbox. The next morning, a new complaint arrived. Public defamation via surveillance. Enclosed was a screenshot of a meme circulating online. Karen with glowing red eyes holding a cone like a lightsaber. Caption: She doesn't gatekeep. She driveway keeps. The HOA board called another emergency meeting. This time, Ayan brought backup, printed YouTube stats, chat transcripts, and a notarized copy of the forged map Karen had distributed. Karen brought rage. "He's turned my neighborhood into a circus," she shouted. "I've received death threats. People are parking here just to see my dog." "Your dog's famous," Ayan said dryly. "Enough!" she shrieked. The board looked torn. Some muttered, others checked their phones. One member leaned into the mic. "Is it true you forged a document about easements?" Karen's eyes darted. "I submitted a working draft." "That's not a thing," someone said. Karen turned to Ayan. "You're manipulating public opinion with biased media. You're manufacturing a harassment campaign." He pulled a thumb drive from his pocket and slid it across the table. "Full footage archive, unedited, no jump cuts. You're welcome to review it." Silence. Then someone asked, "Is Muffin okay with all this?" That broke the room. A few board members chuckled. Karen stormed out, but her next move wasn't a tantrum. It was warfare. 2 days later, Ayan's Tesla triggered an alert. "Object detected. Rear proximity." He rushed outside. Karen's SUV had reversed to within 3 inches of the Tesla's rear bumper. An orange cone now rested directly under his rear tires. A private parking authorization placard was taped to her windshield. She stood beside it, smug. "You can't move the car without hitting my property. I'll call the police if you try." Ayan pulled out his phone, began recording. "So you're intentionally blocking me in?" "Legally blocking," she corrected. "Safety first." 10 minutes later, a police cruiser rolled up. Karen was quick to speak. "He's operating a self-moving vehicle that nearly struck me last week. There's no driver, no oversight." The officer turned to Ayan. "Can you show me the footage?" Ayan pulled it up. Tesla's Sentry mode captured everything. The video showed Karen lunging at the car, cone in hand, screaming, "You can't leave!" The Tesla calmly backed away, then halted automatically. The officer blinked. "So, the car avoided her?" "Correct." Karen's face drained of color. "That's edited. Deep fake." "Ma'am," the officer said flatly, "you're not in a movie." She was fined for obstructing a public drive and warned for false reporting. Ayan's stream doubled in viewers that night. One top comment read, "She's not fighting a neighbor. She's fighting the future." And now, people were picking sides. Some neighbors joined Ayan's side, secretly messaging him with support. Others began asking questions during HOA meetings Karen could no longer dodge, but she wasn't done yet. Because the next day, Ayan found a fresh set of cones, not just blocking his driveway this time, but forming a complete ring around his house, and a handwritten note stuck to his door. "Let's see you drive your little robot out of this." At 6:02 a.m., the neighborhood woke to the sound of whirring propellers, not from leaf blowers, not even from Karen's god-awful patio wind chimes. From Ayan's drone, it hovered 30 feet above Sycamore Lane like an avenging angel with a GoPro. The cone ring around his property was impossible to miss. 12 safety cones in total, placed with military precision to form a makeshift, no-tech zone boundary. The sign on his garage read, "Trapped by traffic cones, live streaming 24/7. Counting down to stupidity. Viewers poured in, over 120,000 by noon. Karen, clad in her tennis whites and HOA sash, which was somehow real, stepped onto her porch and pointed a finger at the drone. "Illegal surveillance aircraft," she shouted. "That's airspace violation." Ayan, holding his controller with one hand and a protein shake in the other, called out, "Already cleared with the FAA for under 400 feet. Want to borrow the paperwork?" Her jaw clenched so tightly, Muffin barked at the sound. By mid-morning, a new HOA notice was nailed to his mailbox. HOA emergency rule. No flight devices on private lanes. Signed hastily. No date. No board vote. Ayan scanned it, laughed, and pinned it next to the others on his wall of HOA absurdity, which had become its own side attraction on the live stream. Then he unveiled his counter-strike. He had taken the drone footage from the cone siege, clipped Karen laying them down at 3:14 a.m., added a military drum roll, and sent it to every local news station. Title: Suburban Siege. Woman uses traffic cones to block Tesla owner in tech turf war. Channel 5 picked it up. The segment aired at 6. Karen's face, caught mid-cone placement, eyes wide, ponytail bobbing like a villain in fast motion, was plastered across local TV with the caption, "HOA president gone too far." She went ballistic. That night, police arrived on Sycamore Lane again. Karen had called them, again, this time claiming that Ayan was waging psychological warfare using aerial vehicles. Ayan calmly invited the officer in, offered coffee, and showed the stream numbers. The officer chuckled. "I mean, you're not technically doing anything illegal," Karen screamed from her lawn. "This is harassment." "No, ma'am," the officer replied. "This is the internet." She stormed inside. The real twist came 2 days later in the form of an envelope, certified mail, from the county zoning department. Inside, a cease and desist addressed to the Sycamore HOA, a formal complaint from a concerned homeowner. Ayan's lawyer had phrased it brilliantly. A request for public comment on the revocation of HOA privileges for violating residential boundaries and submitting altered documents. Karen's entire power structure? Under review. The neighborhood buzzed. The whispers grew. Neighbors who once hid behind blinds now walked their dogs with curiosity and cautious smiles. One even handed Ayan a pie. "It's lemon meringue," she said, "for standing up." The next morning, Muffin showed up alone on Ayan's porch, not running away, just sitting there. Around her neck, a note. "She's lost it. I'm seeking asylum." The internet lost its mind. Free Muffin began trending on Twitter, but while the world laughed, Karen wasn't retreating. She was planning something. Her SUV disappeared for hours at a time. Packages arrived, heavy ones. Neighbors reported odd smells. She'd covered her windows with aluminum foil. It wasn't over, and Ayan could feel it. The next move wouldn't be about cones or citations. It would be something unhinged. He checked his cameras, his drone, his alarms. And that night, at 2:33 a.m., they triggered all at once. At 2:33 a.m., Ayan's house lit up like a security firm's Christmas tree. Perimeter alarm triggered, motion sensors, east lawn, camera. 3. Unidentified object approaching. Tesla. He bolted upright, grabbed his phone, and tapped into the live feed. The grainy night vision showed a figure in a hoodie crouching near the Tesla's charging port. A large rectangular object was slung over one shoulder. They moved like they'd rehearsed this. Then the porch floodlight kicked on. Karen caught red-handed on 4K in bunny slippers, dragging what looked like a portable power inverter and a jumper cable rig. Her plan was cartoonishly clear. She was trying to jump-start the Tesla with her own SUV's battery. It made no sense. Tesla batteries didn't work like that. But logic had long left the building. Ayan activated the loudspeaker. "Karen, step away from the vehicle." She froze, hands mid-cable. "This is an inspection. Emergency compliance override." "That's not a thing." "It is now," she snapped, tossing the cable toward the car like she was lassoing a rodeo bull. The clamp smacked harmlessly against the Tesla's alloy rim and bounced off. The drone, already in standby mode, launched automatically and began circling. Karen shielded. Her eyes from its light screamed, "You're invading my dreams," and hurled a rock at it. Missed. Police arrived minutes later, called in automatically by the system. Karen tried to explain. "He's weaponized automation. I'm neutralizing it. I'm conducting a citizen's disablement." The officer looked, bewildered. "Ma'am, you're trying to jump a parked Tesla. That's not how this works." But he's broadcasting my life. My dog's gone viral. You mean Muffin? Who left you? Karen shrieked. Muffin, who was safely sleeping inside Ayan's house by now, stirred but did not wake. They booked her. Criminal trespass. Property. Tampering. Attempted vandalism. Violation of a standing cease and desist order. It was all on tape. The body cam. The drone. The Tesla's own cameras, which caught her muttering, "This'll show him," just before the power cable fell in the grass. The video hit the internet before sunrise. Title: HOA Karen tries to jumpstart a Tesla with an SUV. Arrested on live stream. It reached 3.1 million views by lunch. Ayan sat on his porch that afternoon, finally calm. He scratched Muffin behind the ears and sipped cold brew while the press requests poured in. He declined interviews. But he did accept one email from a representative of a county supervisor's office. "Mr. Ayan, we've been following the zoning situation. We'd like to discuss the HOA's violation history and your evidence. Please schedule a meeting with our Land Regulation Committee." Beneath it was a second attachment, a forwarded HOA grant application that Karen had filed under her name, using Ayan's address as proof of community development. He stared at it, stunned. She had tried to leverage his land for state funds. No cones, no fake maps. This was a new level. Ayan sent the evidence to his lawyer. By evening, Karen had posted bail. She returned to Sycamore Lane in silence, her hair frazzled, her dignity duct-taped together. She didn't yell, she didn't pace. She simply stood on her porch and stared at Ayan's house. He didn't look away. The war wasn't over, but something in her posture said she wasn't going to play by the same rules anymore. And that's what worried him, because in the quiet, you couldn't hear the schemes forming, but they were always there, especially with someone who had nothing left to lose. For the first time in weeks, Sycamore Lane was quiet. No cones, no cameras flashing, no HOA foot soldiers stuffing warning notices under windshields. But Ayan knew better. Stillness from Karen wasn't surrender. It was strategy. He spent the next few days preparing. His lawyer, Ms. Rahana Aziz, was surgical with documentation. She'd compiled a full digital archive, forged HOA maps, tampered footage timestamps, Karen's grant application using Ayan's address, even drone footage of her 3M2 Tesla assassination attempt, and most importantly, a single certified document from the county land registrar. Ayan didn't just live on Sycamore Lane, he owned the access road the HOA kept claiming as theirs. Karen had been barking from a podium she had no legal foundation to stand on. The court hearing was scheduled for a Friday morning. Civil court, downtown. Ayan showed up in a navy blue suit. Rihanna stood beside him, calm and unshakable. Karen arrived 10 minutes late, still in her signature pearls, but with a wrinkled blouse, a frazzled legal aid, and no HOA backing her. They had voted her out 2 days prior. Silently, almost politely. The board simply replaced her with a middle school math teacher named Glenn who didn't like drama and preferred native plants over turf grass. Inside the courtroom, it began quietly. Judge Espinoza took one look at the paperwork and muttered, "You're telling me she tried to jumpstart an electric car?" Ayan's lawyer nodded. The judge pinched the bridge of her nose. "Let's proceed." Rihanna presented every file with cold clarity. Emails, timestamps, forensic metadata, HOA bylaw excerpts, and even a slow-motion video of Karen tripping over her own cone mid-rant. Karen interrupted twice, called the footage AI propaganda, claimed Muffin was kidnapped by algorithms. By the third outburst, the judge raised a hand. "Mrs. Tilden, I suggest you let counsel speak unless you'd like to be escorted out." Karen sat back, seething. Then came the twist. Rahana introduced the final document, a copy of Karen's fraudulent grant application. complete with her forged signature and Ayan's parcel ID number as the community development anchor. Even the judge leaned forward. "You filed for $25,000 in neighborhood beautification funds, using land you didn't own?" Karen stammered. "It was a clerical misunderstanding." "Did the clerk also misunderstand the fake email you created, pretending to be Mr. Ayan?" Silence. Then Rihanna added the nail. "Your Honor, we're not just seeking a restraining order. We're filing a motion to dissolve Sycamore Lane's HOA, based on fraudulent activity and systemic abuse of non-member property owners." The judge stared at Karen. "I've seen some neighborhood power trips," she said slowly, "but this is a full-speed highway exit to insanity." She banged the gavel once. "Restraint granted. Trespassers will be arrested. Property boundaries upheld. Motion to dissolve HOA will be reviewed." Karen stood like her bones were glass. Her mouth moved, but no sound came out. Her aide whispered something, then gently led her out. The courtroom door shut softly behind her. Ayan exhaled. It was the first real breath he'd taken in weeks. Outside, a small crowd had gathered, local reporters, curious neighbors, a muffin fan holding a cardboard sign that read, "Team Tesla." Rihanna smiled, clapped Ayan's shoulder. "Give it a week. If the county sees what we've shown, your driveway won't just be yours again." "It always was," Ayan said. She just didn't like that it was smarter than her. That night, Ayan returned to Sycamore Lane and parked his Tesla with a full, slow turn into the driveway. No cones, no crowd, just him, the stars, and Muffin watching from the porch. But he didn't know that while he celebrated, Karen had already made her next move, not legal, not loud, something darker, something buried, and it was already in motion. Sunday night came with a sky full of stars and a deceptive calm. Ayan sat on his porch with Muffin curled beside him, the silence finally feeling earned. The HOA was suspended pending review. Karen had been removed from her post. His Tesla was finally unbothered, his cameras showed no movement, and the internet had mostly moved on, except for the Muffin memes. He should have felt safe. But something was off. It started with a low hum. His Tesla's app buzzed. Unusual cabin activity detected. He froze. The car wasn't charging. It shouldn't even be powered. Yet the alert came through again. Cabin temperature rising. Manual override? He stood, checked his phone again. A manual heating command had been activated from inside the vehicle. But no one had touched it. He walked briskly toward the driveway, Muffin trailing behind. As he rounded the hedge, he saw the Tesla glowing faintly under the moonlight. But something was wrong with the driver's side window. It was fogged. He peered inside. A small black signal jammer was lodged in the rear seat, connected to a thermal blanket system and some kind of USB relay plugged into the diagnostic port. Someone had tried to remotely overload the battery's thermal management system, essentially forcing the Tesla into a self-heating loop that, if left unchecked, could catch fire. And just like that, he understood. This wasn't a prank. This wasn't cones. This was sabotage. He yanked the door open and unplugged everything, yanking the devices free before they could do real damage. Then he checked the camera logs. All had gone black 20 minutes earlier. Jammed. His backup camera, though, wired independently, captured a brief flicker, a silhouette, ponytail, hooded jacket, Karen. The footage caught her slipping into the side yard, not from the front. She had bypassed the street, sneaking through a neighbor's yard, crawling under a rotted fence panel Ayan had meant to fix weeks ago. She didn't just lose the war. She'd declared a final ambush. He called the police. Again. When the officer arrived, Ayan handed over the jammer, the thermal relay, the backup footage, and the last Tesla log showing a forced heating override. The officer's face went pale. This isn't HOA trouble anymore. This is attempted arson. Karen was arrested 2 hours later, barefoot, hiding in a neighbor's shed. Her hair was matted, and she was muttering about AI retaliation and reclaiming the land from the machines. The story broke within the hour. Ex-HOA president tried to burn Tesla in tech war meltdown. It hit national news. By morning, Ayan's inbox had over 300 requests from tech blogs, advocacy groups, late-night talk shows, even a Tesla podcast called Charge and Resist. But the best email came from the county. Mr. Ayan, your HOA's authority has been officially revoked due to fraud, abuse of power, and safety violations. As the sole landowner of the disputed access lane, you are no longer subject to its governance. Freedom. Official. Legal. He framed that letter on the wall. Weeks passed. Karen remained in custody awaiting trial. Muffin got her own Instagram, 275K followers. Sycamore Lane turned peaceful again. No more cones, no more sirens. Just the quiet hum of technology and nature coexisting. But Ayan wasn't bitter. He looked at it all, every drama, every cone, every crazed scheme, and realized something. Karen never hated him. She feared what he represented. Change, control slipping. From her fingers. A future she couldn't manage with clipboards and fake maps. And in the end, that fear destroyed her. Ayan walked his now open driveway, Muffin trotting proudly beside him. Above, his drone floated quietly, not as a threat, but as a symbol of vigilance, of truth, of never letting anyone trap you again.